Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today we are going to talk about the Kill Team Commanders and Kill Team Inquisitor things, what have been both confirmed and rumoured. Well, I say both. One's being confirmed, Kill Team Commanders, and the other one is rumoured, which is Kill Team Inquisitor. To be honest, in a way, we're not actually going to talk about the contents of those Kill Team things, because whilst they are interesting, the interesting thing for me is the implication of the impact on 40k as a whole. And to be honest, the idea of the Commanders thing looks kind of interesting. You know, like special characters that you can use in Kill Team, all nice, all very good. There's already some rules for it in Rogue Trader, so that side of things, that is the bit that is confirmed. That's a thing that's going to happen. The thing that I'm kind of interested and excited about is Kill Team Inquisitor, which could well be another expansion for Kill Team itself, in which case it would probably be very much in the same vein as Rogue Trader. The interesting thing about Rogue Trader, of course, is that not only are the models kind of badass and they look great, but there is a pleasant little surprise that came along with them, in that you can use the Galapox Infected and the Eleusidian Starstriders in Warhammer 40,000 itself. So, in a way, it's kind of, I was going to say a bit backwards. In Kill Team, it's quite nice because you can use stuff from Warhammer 40k in Kill Team. So if you've already got an existing collection of models, you can throw together a Kill Team if you like, or you can just build one from scratch, make it nice and unique, make it your own. I quite like that system, I like the way it works. With the case of Rogue Trader, it was the other way round, whereby these were models that were not previously available to you, and they came as a special expansion to Kill Team itself, and you can use them in 40k. The delivery system was backwards for that particular game type. And that got me excited because, well, we have a kind of unspoken thing whereby there are factions within 40k that don't really have a large umbrella. They don't really have the kind of presence that some of the others do. And that is, of course, the stuff like the Inquisition and Rogue Trader now as well. The fact that there is a rumour for actual Kill Team Inquisitor just makes me even more hopeful for the thing that we talked about last week, which is the chance of an Agents of the Imperium Codex. Because I don't think it's unreasonable to make a guess or assumption that should we see Kill Team Inquisitor, what we would actually get is a new collection of models, a new collection of figures to actually boost that a little bit. So rather than it being a case of existing kill teams whereby, you know, you've got boxes but they contain stuff that you can already get effectively, you know, the sort of the Reavers and Orcs and all that stuff, it's like, it's nice that you can get them in their own box, but you can make your own stuff. The actual Inquisitorial line of stuff in the 40k catalogue is kind of outdated. It's a bit crappy now. It's not great. There are, of course, the occasional exceptions, like Greyfax is an exception to that, but one new model out of however many, in fact there aren't even that many models thinking about it, is not that impressive, and a lot of the Inquisitor stuff is pretty outdated at this point. I don't think it's unreasonable to assume or to guess that should we see Kill Team Inquisitor and should it be a real thing, we would actually get a proper Inquisitorial warband. Like, they would actually make those kits. They would either refresh the line or they make brand new kits and put them in that box. And if they're in that box, we might see a named Inquisitor with his retinue get rules for Warhammer 40k. Now, of course, if you're going to give them rules for Warhammer 40k, there's nothing wrong with putting it in a small, like, mini codex, the same way that the Eleusidian Starstriders and the Galapox Infected have got their own little mini codexes. But if you wanted to collect all these little disparate factions that aren't quite big enough for something like Codex Space Marines or Imperial Guard or whatever, there is, of course, an umbrella that you could put them under, which would be an Agents of the Imperium style book. Of course, whether it be called that or not, we don't know. I like this move because either way, I think we're kind of onto a winner with it. So whether or not we did get a big codex collecting all of this stuff together, the fact is right now you do actually have an option for playing actual rogue traders in Warhammer 40k. Now, I would hope that would be expanded on, obviously. Pretty much all of this stuff, I would hope that it's expanded on. the Galabox Infected are interesting, but they could be thrown into just a Chaos Codex at some point. So in that respect, I'm not too bothered about that side of things. For me, it's more the Rogue Trader / Inquisitor side of things that is interesting. If we actually start to see proper refreshes of these lines, in a way, whilst I am hopeful for a large codex collecting it all together, the important bit isn't that there is a large codex collecting together. The important bit is that Games Workshop are actually looking at previous iterations and previous parts of their IP and refreshing them, despite the fact that, let's be honest, it might not even be that lucrative. See, Rogue Trader is obviously fairly lucrative. People do want to see the return of that side of Warhammer 40k. But I would argue that it is not a surefire thing. It is not a dead set thing. Simply going Rogue Trader and then expecting all the sales to flood in, probably not actually that much of a legitimate strategy. But it has worked really well because it's been a mix of pulling on the nostalgia heartstrings and also producing some really cool miniatures. Although they did screw up with the rules, I have to say, because if the dog dies, it has no effect on morale, which is, there's only two explanations for that. Either whoever wrote that rule is heartless and it needs to be shoveled to death, or, alternatively, that simply confirms the attitude that I put forward when we first saw the Rogue Trader stuff, which is that globally, as a group of people, we can all agree that the dog never dies. All that happens is that if it gets too stressful on the battlefield for the dog is taken away, given a warm blanket, some water, some dog treats, and is allowed to have a nap, or alternatively chase whatever the equivalent of rats are on 40k ships around the corridors for a bit to chill out. I think that's fair. I mean, if you know the dog's going out for a nice time, that's not going to affect your morale because it's fine. The dog's going out for a nice time. If you don't care about the dog, you're clearly Satan incarnate, and what the fuck is wrong with you? That was a weird tangent. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. I like the fact that this has come out, and I like that this is a possibility. I wouldn't have specifically called this as being a thing that I particularly believe if it were not for the announcement and then release of Rogue Trader, because that was something that I was just blown away by. Like, what the hell is happening? Are they actually doing this? They are doing this. This is amazing. Similar things with the Orc vehicles, to be honest. I mean, I wouldn't have called that, but here we are with a bunch of really good Orc models on the way. They're so good. My dog is going mental. That's how good they are. I'm genuinely excited by this. I really want to see what level it goes to, whether we're going to see some new sculpts, whether we're going to see like a proper full-on expansion where it's an Inquisitorial warband fighting. I mean, it could be anything really. It could be a bunch of Chaos cultists, it could be traitors, it could be whatever. You know, Inquisitors have quite a wide scope. It depends what order they're part of. But no matter what it is, I cannot help but look forward to seeing it if it is a true and real thing, because the potential for greatness following the models that we saw out of Rogue Trader, there surely can't be a downside. They'd have to try really hard to mess this up. Even if it's just like plastic re-releases of stuff that we've already seen before, actually having that stuff in plastic, maybe posable, actually updated, that would be a start. But I'm kind of clinging on to the idea that we will see a full-on, like, a bunch of new models, a proper Inquisitorial warband come out with this. It's good. I want to see more of this stuff. I want to see the older parts of Warhammer 40k revisited and refreshed and brought up to date and actually, you know, reintroduced for those of us who like that smaller, not quite as explored side of things when it comes to the range of models, because there's always so much potential with that stuff for conversions and for customization, and that has been lacking for a while. Inquisitors, to me, should be some of the most like accessible and conversion possible things out there, and they just aren't really. There's not really much in the way of official models to give you an idea of what that could be. Obviously, you can make your own out of whatever, but the fact that there is such a disappointing line from Games Workshop for just Inquisitors as a whole, it kind of sucks. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do, and hopefully we'll see some quality new models again. Because let's face it, the stuff from Rogue Trader was great, and if they can pull it off again for Inquisitors, No one is going to be unhappy with that. Everyone will be happy, especially me. So, do you reckon it's likely? Kill Team Inquisitor? Do you think that's something that will happen? Is it something that you would have been less likely to believe if we hadn't already had Rogue Trader? Or is that something you would have just assumed they would do at some point anyway? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click any of the shit videos, playlist, subscribe, Patreon. I can't remember what's on them anymore. It's got that bad. Click them if you like. Don't click them if you don't want to. I don't blame you either way. And I will see you for the next one. Toodaloo.